What's up, YouTube? So, it's actually the day after I saw the van. Um, I'm honestly about, be straight up, I'm about to do a baby wipe refresh and then heading to rehearsal, um, for Hamlet, which I'm stage managing. Uh, so, results. I was really thinking about, hey, let's go for it. It did drive nice, the van. Like, there was only a couple minor cosmetic things. He wanted to sell it for about what the Kelly Blue Book value said it was, but it had those cosmetic flaws. Like, it had the busted light. It had a busted side view mirror. Honestly, if the insides were great, those weren't deal breakers. They were really easy fixes. Um, but I'm not gonna throw away, for me, like, $1,400 is a lot of money. And also, this is something I'm going to live in. Like, it's not just a throwaway thing if this vehicle has some sort of hidden problem. But anyway, I texted him and said, can you send me the VIN? I want to look up the Carfax. If the Carfax are cool, I'm probably going to buy it. And he's like, sure, give me a sec. And then I never got texted a VIN number or emailed or messaged or anything a VIN number. So since I wasn't sent a VIN number, I ultimately decided that, unfortunately, it looks like I'm not going to have a van yet. I wasn't in love with the van. I didn't hate it. It was fine. Like it was definitely fine. Like, it would give me more space. I would have had to figure out what to do with those seats, but that's just part of transitioning. I really like the idea of a minivan because a minivan can do a lot of, like, car things, but with more space. Like, it can go into regular car washes. When it's parked as, like, a car, like, nobody really pays attention to it. It kind of blends in with cars on the street, which is also the nice thing about being in a car. What I don't like about being in a car is that a lot of my stuff is restricted. Like, I have front seat, I have back seat, and I have trunk. The stuff in the trunk I can't reach without getting out, and, like, I like to keep most of my extra shoes back there, and there really isn't a good place with how I have things organized now to keep them up front. So I keep my shoes back there, I keep my clothes back there, and most of the time that's fine. Once a day I need to access those things. I need to get a outfit, and I'll put it in my gym bag, and I'll go in the gym, and I'll take a shower, and I'll dress. If I'm doing a quick baby wipe thing because there wasn't enough time to drive to the gym, or doing some other kind of wash-up thing, I still have to get out the car, go get the stuff, get back in the car, and do what I need to do. Having a car sometimes means a lot of oats in an area I can't access by just, like, sitting in the car. I'm not a small person. This is a rather large vehicle. The Toyota Avalon is, like, super freaking roomy, I'm not gonna lie. And when I flip the seat back, I can kind of climb into the back. Like, if I flatten the seat as much as I can kind of get into the back without, like, actually physically getting out of the car to get back there. But not really. There's a lot of times I have to expose myself by getting out of the car that I wouldn't have to do if I had, like, a van or a way at least to access cab to rear without exiting the vehicle. It's completely workable. I've been doing it, and I stay low. I'm not stupid. I stay low profile enough that mostly people see me, I guess, mostly as doing, like, normal things. I don't know. I'm not people in the street, and all I know is right now I haven't been bothered. I haven't been targeted, and the people who have found out about me living in a car, like, it didn't call out to them when they saw the car. When I told them, it was like, oh, really? Like, my car sometimes looks junky, but also I'm in theater. I know a lot of people who spend more time in their cars than they do in their homes, either because they're working and doing rehearsals, or working and designing, or working in whatever. So they're at work for, like, 8 hours a day sometimes, and then they're spending additional hours at a rehearsal or in tech or doing production stuff before they even go home. So that lifestyle leads to a lot of stuff in your car, because there's a lot of stuff you drive around with just so you can make sure you have it. So I'm just sort of the next step in that. So my car doesn't ping. She's living in there. which I like. And that is what I liked about going from a car to a minivan as opposed to like a full van or an RV or anything like that. Like, I like basically being low profile. Nobody's bothering me. I'm just living my life. Now, obviously, I'm on YouTube, but honestly, like, I don't see this like blowing up to thousands of people. So there'll be a few people who know, and hopefully, like, if anybody else, has like a cell phone and a little bit of internet access and gets onto YouTube, and maybe I'm not that important and I'm dreaming, and they see me, they go, oh, the situation I'm in is survivable. Like, I can I can function in this normally. I just need to change my brain about the way some things work. And that's the trick. Just to go off topic a little bit here, because I know I was talking about the van. The trick is to tell yourself you can live. You won't live the way you did in a house. Like, in a house, if I was feeling like some warm food in the morning, I got up and I walked into a kitchen. If I want to use a kitchen, if I want to use my stove, like, I have so many steps I have to do, but I can do it. And it's like, how much am I committed to it? And if I'm not committed to it, what's my alternative? I can still have breakfast. I can still have a good breakfast. I can go to 7-Eleven, get some hot water in my hot cup, come back to the car, throw a tea bag in it, have my cup of tea and get some fruit, and done. Perfectly healthy breakfast and not expensive. But maybe I'm just in the mood for like something yummier, something more hearty. Maybe I want some eggs and some cheese, and I can do that too. Again, steps involved. Did I already buy eggs? I don't want to pre-buy eggs because I don't have refrigeration. They'll probably honestly, eggs will last a day or two without refrigeration. You won't die, or at least I'm not dead yet. There's a lot of things that would kill me. I'm not really worried about some eggs. But I've heard plenty of people say, like, eggs are, you don't need to refrigerate. And I mean, don't keep them for a month if you're not going to eat them right away. But, like, get the little 6-pack of eggs. Don't get the dozen eggs. Don't get the 18 eggs. You don't have the storage. You don't have refrigeration. And you need to commit to eating what you buy relatively soon after buying it. There's no, like, long-term storage. But you can do it. You can have your egg and cheese sandwich. You can go get some eggs. You can go get some cheese. You can buy you, like, bagels, bread, whatever you want to put that egg and cheese sandwich on. And then you need to find a park that's, relatively, cool to cook in. Pull out all your cooking gear. Set up your kitchen equipment. Do your cooking. Go ahead and eat your meal. Chill for a little bit. Meal's over, you need to clean up. You need to pull out the park. You need to make sure you get rid of all your trash. You need to make sure you wash your dishes, which, yes, you can do by simply, like, warming up. I like to warm up a little bit of water, mix it with some already cool water, take my little basin bucket, wash everything up. But there's steps. But you can have it. And it's about choices and organization, but you can have it. Like, you don't have to be desperate. You don't have to spend if you have a job and you're homeless, you don't have to spend all your money, like, running the fast food places, eating bad food. There are choices. There are ways to live that you'll still be healthy. You'll still be okay. And rather you say, hey, you know what? This works for me and I want to stay being a vehicle dweller, or you go, okay, this will make this survivable until I can get the thing I want to get. You can survive it. You can survive it feeling like a normal person. All that to say, I could continue probably living in this car for a while, and I would be okay. Like, I wouldn't be, falling apart or, like, desperate to, like, change it. Like, right now, I'm like, you know what? I can make this work. And there are people who aren't going to like me saying that. Like, they either want a sob story where, like, I'm crying into my steering wheel or something. And there was a point that easily could have happened. Like, they either wanted me crying and desperate, or they want me to be, like, this fancy, upbeat person who's, like, everything's super amazing all the time. Hashtag car life, van life, whatever. I'm neither of those people. I fell into some circumstances wherein this ended up being a part of the circumstances, and I found a way to build from those circumstances. And that's all this is. Um, there's only probably like 2 YouTubers I've seen where like my story kind of lines up. One of them is very famous. It's Bob Wells. Like he didn't. Everybody likes to criticize Bob Wells for the amount of money he's making now as a YouTuber. Like, oh yeah, Bob Wells can afford whatever van he wants. He's making X amount of money. Like Bob Wells' situation was, he didn't go, oh, I want to be like the cool like nomad Santa. He got a divorce and found himself in a financial situation where the only thing he could live in was, I believe it was like a cargo van or something like that. And so he started doing it out of situational need. And now he's Bob Wells, as, you know, people who are familiar with nomadic living, it's specifically RV living or living out of vans, like he's a big name there. Like you drop his name to a lot of van dwellers and like they know who he is. People outside of that community don't, but he's big enough that he's making like a pretty generous amount of money off of being a YouTuber. And probably the most unusual among them, because a lot of the YouTubers who are big now don't look like Bob Wells, or nothing like Bob Wells. But so like I said, my story lines up a little bit with his in that I found myself in a situation where the way to survive was to survive by living out of a vehicle. The way to be self-functional while surviving was to live out of a vehicle. So his story I line up with. The other person I kind of line up with, I think, is Hobo Alley. She also like started living in the car as a temporary situation. And she has a really cool video where she talks about what it was like in the beginning. Hopefully it's still up on her channel because, you know, she's like super awesome now, ahead of the game now. But she talked about meeting some homeless people and exchanging this dialogue where she like learned things, but at the same time there was, and I may be getting this entirely wrong, so Hobo Alley, if you ever see this video, like she ever watches my videos, don't attack me. But there was this whole mental thing she talked about, and there's a lot of people who called the Hobo Alley fake, and I knew she wasn't fake because she did that video where she talked about that moment of realizing she had something in common with homeless people, even though she had kind of chosen to do what she did. Like she was leaving a roommate situation and wanted to save money. She had started dumpster diving at some point, and so she decided like the next logical step as that situation dissolved, in order to save money and to have money and not be living so desperately paycheck to paycheck, was to live in her car. And so that's what she did. And I think that's kind of similar to me. Like, I was in a roommate situation that had dissolved. I planned to look for another room. I think she 100% cut that idea out. And she's like, I'm going to live in my car. I planned to look for another room right away. Like, I was like, a month and a half, I'll have a new room. Didn't happen. And some of it was affordability. Some of it was like, you have to go through these roommate interviews and you're trying to like fulfill their criteria to be a roommate, and it can be really frustrating. It's like, I have enough frustrating things going on right now without adding trying to impress strangers on top of it. It's just not who I am. There's a reason I'm not in like marketing or a schmoozer. And in fact, like I shrink like hell at parties. Like I shrink. Like if I don't have a job to do, if it's not like I'm serving or I'm cleaning up or I'm like watching the door, if it isn't like a specific like zeroed in job, I will shrink. Last party I was at, I pretty much at one point I got attached to my friend and I stayed there. But yeah. Long story short, back to this. This is still long story is in no way short because I've gone completely off topic. But as for this van, which is what this video was actually supposed to be about, I am not going to, now that I've committed to this and I'm like, I'm going to get a van and I'm going to live in a van. And I plan to live in a van for years. At the very least, I plan to live in a van and give it like 2 years and reevaluate in 2 years. But step one is getting the van. And a friend of mine like messaged me the other day and was like, hey, I might be getting this RV, but if I don't get it, do you want it? And I'm like, no. And he's really trying to sell me on this RV. Like, totally like, RV this, or you can get the RV until you can afford a van. And I'm like, no, like, why? I can live in my car until I can afford a van. Why would I spend money on an RV until I can afford a van? Also, this seems kind of weird. Like, if you're going to do something like, and maybe people have downgraded from RV to van, I could see reasons for doing it because I'm pro van. But I didn't see a reason to like pay into a RV and then not get a van. I don't think you've really got like how hardcore, like, no, I know exactly what I want. I want a van. I don't care if, now it could be a minivan, it could be a cargo van. A Class B might even work as long as it's a van, but I'm on the fence about it because my biggest thing about RVs is like, I don't want to deal with the systems in RVs. RVs are already built to function a certain way. So it's like, the water, yeah, you get a bathroom, but it's not like that bathroom's hooked up to city water. Like, you have to hook up to a water system or you have to get water for it, and then you have to deal with the black tanks and the gray tanks and the clean water tanks. And you know what, my bucket of water, my little 2-gallon jugs, they work out great and they're not complicated. So at this point, like, I just don't see the benefits of an RV for a bathroom. And then the other thing is you get a kitchen. I already have a camping stove. Literally, I just need something with a big enough countertop where I can be like, boom, camping stove. And if that camping stove stops working, I don't like it. You know what? It fits into a little container. I'll get rid of it and I'll get a different one. So I don't really see the benefits for a stove. There's heating and cooling. I can figure out heating and cooling in a van. And again, I can buy units that are easy to insert and remove. RVs appeal to a lot of people because they look like houses. Like, you walk into the house part of it and you ignore the cab part of it and you feel like, oh, I'm in a house. There's a bed. There's things I recognize as house-like. And like I said, changing my perspective in a car was realizing I don't live in a house anymore. So what different ways do I need to live so that I can live in a vehicle as opposed to a house? My mentality is not I need to live in a house or I need to walk into something that looks like a house. I need the things I need. I need a bed. I need somewhere to cook. And yes, I need to be able to go to the bathroom. Which is the simplest thing ever. It's called a bucket. Like, literally, a bucket. A small container. I need something to aim into that I can then dump in a respectful way. That's all. And so I'm not willing to compromise, nor am I going to rush. I'm not going to rush into buying a van. I rushed into buying this car, which I didn't even buy. Like, it's on a lease thing. Like, I make payments on it every month, and it's, you know, it was something I rushed into because I needed something. Well, I have this, and this is maintainable until I find another thing. So why? By the way, this thing's awesome. It has a filter in it. So what I do, I used to have a Brita picture back there. I'm going off topic again. Sorry. I used to have a Brita picture back there, and I took it out one day, and there was like a little mold ball in the bottom of it, and I was like, no. Tossed the water out, threw it away. I was done with it. And I was like, oh, you know what? Brita has these water bottles that have filters built into them. This stays in the car mostly because I don't want to lose it. I don't think anybody's going to steal it. Like, even if somebody sees it, it just looks like a water bottle. They don't know it's a Brita one. But anyway, because it has this filter in it, like, I just take my jugs of water and I pour it in here. And that way, as, you know, I use it, I have filtered water. It's just me. I don't need like a huge container of filtered water. So this is actually serving me great. But, and this is what I talk about, adaptability. It's like, okay, I can get water, but how do I make sure it's fresh water? Well, I got me a Brita. I spent a little bit of extra money, more than I would spend if I wasn't living in a car, because there might be some larger water filtration system or freshwater system available via the house if I was in a house. Because I'm not in a house, okay, what's my solve? Well, I'll get this smaller Brita water container, and then I get water from wherever the hell I get water. If I'm not quite 100% sure about it, it's going to be filtered before I drink it, and now I have drinking water. And I've always been okay with like room temperature water, so it doesn't need to be cold all the time. And if I really wanted to be cold, you know what I can do? Just like my hot cup and my cold cup, I can go to 7-Eleven, I can go to a fast food place, I can ask for just ice, and have almost always has been free. Like, I can't think of a time they've made me pay for it. And if so, it's probably going to be like, okay, you have to slide us 10 cents to like get a bunch of ice. Throw some ice in here and suddenly it's cold if I really need it cold. But most of the time, I'm just looking for something to sip on. I throw some water in here. It has its own filtration system, and I have fresh water. So if I'm not too sure about where I got my water that's in my gallon jugs, it's being filtered before I drink it. And this is enough for me. Especially since I used to drink from the tap, so I'm not tripping out about like filtered water. So usually one of the ways that your mind set has to change, and it's also like, I wouldn't have spent this much money on a water bottle if I was living in Sticks and Bricks house, because I lose them all the freaking time. And so I'd rather spend like $1, $2 on a water bottle and then just get a new one when I lose it, which is ultimately going to happen, or I drop it and break it. This stays in the car. Like, it doesn't come out of the car. This is for me to have fresh water in the car. When I'm outside the car, there are other ways for me to have fresh water. So yeah, perspectives that have to change when you're living in a car. So off topic, on topic, back to the point. I'm not going to waste money on a van I'm not sure about. And I was very close to going for it. And then he wouldn't send me the van, or he didn't send me the van. And maybe he will flip it over the weekend, because he tried to do the fast sell thing where he was like, well, if you don't take it now, you know, weekend's coming, they'll probably be gone by Monday. It's Saturday. It was Friday when I looked at it. If it's gone now, it's gone. It wasn't meant to be for me. I'm not going to make the wrong decision. I was already going to pass on trying to get it to a mechanic before I bought it. But if you won't even give me the VIN so I can do research, you suspect. And I've been rushed into buying things I didn't want before. I'm not going to do that for a home. Sorry, there's a bunch of stuff going on right now. Alright, cool. But I'm not going to do that for a home. Not for something I'm planning to live in for years. Not for something I want to get me across country and back. Like, I need to know it's something I can live in. And I know I can live in this car. And I know that it can continue to be sustainable until I find the right thing. And it wasn't the right thing. So I guess this is a long way of saying it. I'm a little sad because I was like, yeah, van life happening. But I'm also satisfied with myself for not compromising and not rushing into it and wanting to do those checks. And like I said, the van could have been fine, and it could have been like a couple of easy fixes to get it, you know, perfect. But also, like, he wanted like a significant amount of money for me. Like, that's not throwaway money. Like, it's a cheap van. For some people, like, it would have sucked, but yeah, nothing else to say. I don't know why I'm still talking. Peace out.